Hey, Fortified Hills, Pastor Josh here. Just wanted to tell you about two big things that are coming up in the life of our church, and both of them revolve around the date, November 28th. But before we get there, let me remind you of another date, June 7th, 2020. June 7th, 2020 is the time where we came back together for live, in-person corporate worship after we've been gone for an extended period of time because of COVID-19. What a great day that was. We were able to gather together in this building to see each other face to face, to sing together, to hear the preached word together. Now, we did that in two services, both at 9 o'clock and at 10:45, and we needed to for several reasons. We needed to kind of have some space. We're still trying to figure out all that was happening with COVID-19. And let me just say at the front end, I'm so thankful for you, church. I talk with pastors all the time about the difficulties they've been walking through in these last 2 years, and we've faced our share of difficulties too, but you guys have been so flexible. You've loved one another well. We've had a palpable unity together as a church, and so I'm just thankful for your flexibility over the last couple of years. And part of that was being in two services, and that came with all sorts of new things that we kind of needed to figure out. But we are now excited to announce that we're going to be back together in one service, November 28th. That's where that date comes in. So this November 28th, we're going to come back together at 10:45, one service, and all be together that we might worship Christ the King. Now, the gathered church is really important. Now, some of you might be thinking like, why are we doing this? Why do we need to make this change? The Greek word ekklesia is the word that we translate church, but it literally means assembly. It's the gathering. And so the assembly, the gathering, is essential to what the church is. And we do a lot of things from this stage that I'm standing on now, but what we produce from the stage is not what the church is. We've been so grateful over these couple of years and had an amazing tech team that helped to work out to have a live stream. We're going to continue to have a live stream, but what we can produce onto a live stream is not what the essential nature of the church is. The gathered body, in person, flesh and blood, is essential to who we are as a church. And just think about how the Lord uses the gathered body in your own life and in your faith. As we come together and as one body hear the word being preached, as we gather together in this room and sing praises and sing about the faithfulness of God and sing and remind each other of the gospel, we hear redeemed saints proclaiming the same truths along with us. God uses that to encourage and to strengthen our own faith. I know I've seen that in my life countless times. One in particular, I remember I had done a funeral of someone here in our church, and the next Sunday, the new widow was here, gathered together with us in tears, but she was singing praises to King Jesus. In fact, we were singing that Sunday, "It is well with my soul." And I remember I looked over to see her in those moments, and with arms raised, she was proclaiming her faith in the resurrected Christ, and it strengthened my faith and not just hers. There's been other times where I've known some things going on in the life of our body here, and I've looked over and I've seen people who are struggling through some things that were proclaiming with all that they had the truths of the gospel and finding in those moments rest for their soul, and it encouraged me in my own faith. That's what happens when we come together and worship through song and through the preaching of the word. Just think how sweet it will be for us to be all together as we gather together around the one bread and the one cup and partake of the one supper together in the Lord's Supper, or gather together as one body and remember the power of God in salvation as we celebrate this one baptism we share together, or to come together and with one church affirm new members or new elders as they come into our body and the Lord raises them up. We get to do all of that together as a family of faith. Guys, it is important that we gather. Now, if we continue to grow and things start to happen, we'll have to work through some of those pieces. But as of now, we're able to all gather together in this room. So we're going to, starting November 28th, go back to one service at 10:45. Let me say another thank you. You guys have stepped up to the plate. We asked you a few months ago saying, hey, as we continue to work through kids ministry and kind of rebuild some of that, we needed some more volunteers, and you guys have stepped up into that. And so that's one of the reasons why we're able to do this. Now, I will say we always need more volunteers there. In fact, especially, maybe someone's like, I don't know if I can commit all the time, but to be a substitute. I know Brandy would love to have some more people on her team. So thank you for volunteering, and let's just keep doing it, that we might serve the families the Lord is bringing to us. But we're looking forward to November 28th. We're going to gather together in one service, 10:45, right here in this building. Now, I said there's two things coming up. Something else is happening on that same Sunday. That's when we start our reflection on Advent. So we're going to start a brand new Advent sermon series on November 28th. It's going to go all the way and kind of culminate in our Christmas Eve service together. Now, the word Advent really just means coming. It's a time when we as the church reflect on the coming of Christ, both his first coming and his incarnation, and then also as we patiently and joyfully await his second coming, the return of our King. And so we're going to do that all together as one body starting November 28th. We're going to have some special things in our Sunday gatherings. We'll have some candle lighting and some special passages that we'll have people reading through. And again, it's going to lead up to our Christmas Eve candlelight service where together as a body we're going to remember the story of Christmas as we tell it through the reading of the Word and as we sing it, as we sing songs together and just reflect on the coming of our Christ, as he came as a man and also as he returns then as a king. So we have all those things that are coming up, and they center around that date, November 28th. So I wanted to make sure that you have that date marked on your calendar. Also, maybe you've been away from us for a while. I know there's been lots of different reasons for that. November 28th would be a great time to kind of reconnect with Fortified Hills as we all gather together at one time, 10:45, in this room and proclaim the excellencies of Christ. Can't wait to worship with you, Fortified Hills.